to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 1079 FM, and respective radio stations island-wide. I am Charity Dunker, and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, December 29, 2021. At this time, I'd like to invite the Honorable Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, the Honorable Omar Otley, to address you.
I will try not to be too long today, but let me start on a positive note. I am thankful that we are here today. I'm thankful that we have made it to the viewing and listening public. I am thankful that you are able to be alive today. Many of us did not make it, and as we approach the end of the year, I would like to send a message of caution. I would like to send a message of safety. I would like each and every one of us to do our part. You see, St. Martin is very unique. The world is facing this crisis, and for some reason, we always seem to be resilient. We always seem to bounce back. But that does not take away from the fact that many persons have passed on due to COVID-19, or whether it be the Alpha, the Delta. We are faced with the Omicron. And I put out a press release asking persons not to panic. And lo and behold, now there's an increase of 100 cases in one day, and I noticed the panic. St. Martin is not in its own little bubble. I'm going to be real as possible and realistically speaking. The world is facing this issue. It's not a St. Martin problem. If we look at Curacao, they averaged 300 a day. They had 399. Aruba had 439 cases. America, 73% of their infections is the Omicron. The Netherlands right now, 50% of all infections is the Omicron. The Omicron spreads at a rapid rate, at an 8 times rate, meaning one person can infect up to 8 persons. So it's inevitable. The numbers will go up. I'm not downplaying it. We all have to do our part. We all should get vaccinated. We all should follow protocols. And I encourage and promote the booster shot. And what I want us to realize is while we make such a big deal on the active number, the hospitalizations remained at 2. The death rate remained at 0 thus far. And this is what we have to look at and what is important right now. We have to do our best to mitigate the spread, yes, but at this point, we are headed towards an endemic nature. Endemic means eventually it will become a part of the population. Hence why we are seeing not only vaccinated persons being positive, but persons who previously had COVID are now reinfected. So persons who have had COVID in the past, we have seen a trend that they are now reinfected. This is similar to the influenza, flu, SARS-1, where there will be reinfection rate. I see many people still looking to go against vaccination and saying, yes, but look, vaccinated people are getting it. Yes, we never said that vaccinated persons will not contract COVID-19. We said that it gives your body a better chance to react and possibly avoid hospitalizations and or death, in which we can look at the rate of St. Martin and see that the vaccine is working. What we realize now, many persons are exhibiting symptoms for 1, maximum 2 days, and then they are okay. So that is the majority of complaints I'm getting with the Omicron virus. And there is also a majority of persons who only know that they are positive because they went to test, whether to travel, safety tests, or quarantine measures. So therefore, I look forward to any other questions, but that is my update as far as COVID-19. So for the viewing and listening public, I would like to wish you and bid you a happy, joyous new year. And I pray that 2022 brings us much more joy than 2020 and 2021 did. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Omar Otley. I now invite the Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, Honorable Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, to address you. Minister.
Thank you, Ms. Dunker. Good morning to my Prime Minister. Good morning to my colleague ministers. Good morning to CoM, to the members of the media. We have one today. Welcome. And to the people of St. Martin. I have 2 parts, and I will begin with them. Every year, the government of St. Martin provides financial support for a number of its students to obtain tertiary education. The granting of study financing takes into account the current and future labor needs on St. Martin. As such, research into the labor market demand is an important part of the development of a study financing priority list. The list should provide the true reflection of the occupational and educational needs of St. Martin so that study financing recipients have an increased chance of being hired for a job in their specific area of study when they have completed their studies. The previous study financing list will expire in 2022, and so the Department of Education has begun the necessary steps into the establishment of the study financing priority list for 2023 to 2026. As such, JS Consulting Service, represented by its research coordinator, Mr. Julio R. Romney, has been assigned to conduct research into the short and medium-term labor demand or workforce needs on St. Martin in order to facilitate the establishment of the study financing priority list for 2023 to 2026. The research team began conducting interviews and focus group sessions with stakeholders, as well as carrying out survey questionnaires during the month of December, and will continue to do so in January 2022. A focus group session with the former recipients of study financing will be held on January 5th, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the government building in room 1 and 2, that is here. Through this medium, I am inviting persons who received study financing between the period of 2011 and 2020 who have returned to St. Martin to be part of the focus group session. The objective of the focus group is to learn about the experience of students as it relates to them obtaining study financing based on the study financing priority list and their experiences in gaining employment in the labor market after completing their studies. To register for participation, persons who receive study financing between the period of 2011 and 2020 who have returned to St. Martin are asked to send a brief notification including their name and contact information to the email address info@jsconsultantservices.com. I repeat, info@jsconsultingservices.com. There is a dash between consulting and services. I encourage the community of St. Martin, farmers, study finance recipients, and business community to provide the necessary support for this research, whether it is to fill out the survey or to take part in interviews, as this information is extremely beneficial in determining St. Martin's labor market needs to adequately prepare our students who are the future of St. Martin. In sports news, the following. In aquatics, swimmers Tatiana and Niobe Ellis, affectionately known as the Ellis sisters, competed at the 15th FINA Swimming World Championship in Abu Dhabi from December 16th through December 21st. They returned to Florida, where they are going to school on Friday, 24th of December. In her first international competition and in her one and only event at these championships, the women's 100 freestyle, 18-year-old Niobe finished 8th in her heat with a time of 1 minute, 14.97 seconds. Her older sister, 20-year-old Tatiana, is no newcomer to the international stage, having participated in the FINA World Championship in 2019 in South Korea. Tatiana participated in 2 separate events in Abu Dhabi. the women 50-meter butterfly, in which she finished 6th in her heat with a time of 31.99 seconds, and the women 50 meters freestyle, in which she did better with a 4th place finish in her heat with a time of 29.11 seconds. I was fortunate to be able to speak to Tatiana before their departure from Abu Dhabi and congratulated them not only on their performance, but for the way they proudly represented St. Martin. Also letting them know that countless persons stayed up wee morning hours to cheer them on in real time. Although St. Martin may just be a dot on a world map, the Illes sisters surely made a splash and a lasting impression, and we wish them all the very best and will do our part as government to support them in their endeavors. Because, as always, sports matters. I would also like to join my colleague, the Minister of VSA, in letting the people know that indeed we have a challenge, and we are to take heed of what the ministers say and also be aware of the protocols that have been laid out for us to follow. With this, I would also like to wish all the people of St. Martin, all the people I've worked with, the Council of Ministers, the media, the school boards, the students abroad, the schools, managers, teachers, parents, and everyone a very safe passing from 2021 to 2022. And in 2022, we will positively deal with any challenge that comes towards our way. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Samuel. I now invite the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, the Honorable Egbert Durant, to address you. Minister?
Thank you, Charity. Good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the media, and a special good morning to the people of St. Martin. Today I have two brief updates regarding the procurement policy for tenders. The Ministry of Rummy has several projects that are required to be tendered on a regular basis. There was a lack of policy outlining the way the process should be carried out. As of recent, a tender procurement policy for public tenders as well as tenders by invitation was established as the way forward for tenders to be carried out within the Ministry of Rummy and to ensure consistency, accountability, and efficiency within our operations. Once a project has been identified to surpass the amount of funds as reflected in Article 47 or the compatibility rules, a tender is commenced by the publication of the terms of reference. The initiation and execution of the tender requires approval of the minister and subsequently the Council of Ministers. The tender procurement policy also covers the evaluation of submitted bids on the quality aspect of the project and the submitted cost to execute the works outlined in the terms of reference. The tender procurement policy is introduced for the first time, and it will enhance the government's operation and in turn give the people of St. Martin and our potential bidders better insight as to the actions and the processes that government do in this regard. While those who may not win future tenders will still undoubtedly have a feeling of dissatisfaction, this policy aims to provide transparency, especially into the process leading up to the future tenders of government. Consultations can be made with the Ministry of Rummy for further clarification and explanation of the policy document. This was also published in the Gazette last week, and it will be on government's website as well. Regarding the land issuance policy, since the beginning of 2021, the Ministry of Rummy, the Department of Domain Affairs namely, has started the process of establishing various land policies, such as the outstanding canon policy and the land issuance policy. The land issuance policy aims to provide constructive regulations for the issuance of domain land in long lease, better known as government land. The ministry understands the importance of this policy, which will ensure that the issuance of domain land is done on the basis of transparency. The draft land issuance policy is in its final stage of completion and will be presented to Parliament in January 2022, where further input and feedback can be provided. With the establishing of the land issuance policy, the ministry is also collaborating with the Integrity Chamber in acquiring their input and advice concerning the establishing of this policy. The ministry anticipates that taking this collaborative approach We will highly be instrumental in establishing a policy that will best serve the people of this country. In regards to the Front Street repairs, I'm pleased to inform that Front Street emergency repairs will commence next week. The work entails a reinstalling and leveling of existing bricks on Front Street. The goal of this project is to focus mainly on the barred and deformed areas on the road. The existing bricks will be reinstalled to the original level with existing brick patterns. In 2022, we have a more extensive repair done, which will include a full drainage system in order to avoid such damage taking place again in the near future. Last but not least, I would like to say the following. We all can agree that 2021 has been a challenging year that has brought many difficulties to our face, that we presently face. Notwithstanding this, when we look around today, we must admit that although we are not there yet, we have made a great comeback thus far. Though we are almost brought to our knees on several occasions after Hurricane Irma and this year and last year with the COVID-19 pandemic, we must admit, because of the collective effort and willingness of everyone to focus on what can happen instead of dwelling on what can't happen, today we can definitely see progress in the midst of all the challenges that we face. We are heading into a new year filled with determination to keep moving forward and get this country moving in a direction that we all can desire and we all can succeed. The Cabinet of Rummy and I hereby wishes the entire population of St. Martin much wisdom, strength, and prosperity. May peace, hope, and joy reign over this beautiful St. Martin once again for 2022 and beyond. And may God continue to bless the people of St. Martin. I would like to thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to any questions members of the media might have.
Thank you, Minister Duran, for your opening remarks. I now invite the Honorable Minister of Finance, Artwell Arian, to address you. Minister.
Good morning to my honorable colleagues, the Prime Minister, the media, the people of St. Martin. I'd like to also take note of the words and comments from the Minister of VSA, who was doing a good job on communicating this whole pandemic for the whole last year. I think he has been precise, being forthcoming, and being proactive in his approach. And I think we've seen the results of that now. If you look at the situation that we are in now, that has been said already by him before, that we're going into endemic phase, I believe almost a month ago. And what he said then, we are seeing the results of now. So I believe in his words of not panicking, but also from the other words that he said, follow the protocols, build your immune system, get vaccinated, get your booster shot. So it's not just about not panicking on one end, but also taking up all the other protocols that he has been championing for the last few months already for us to pass through and be on top for the new year. We are in our high season right now. And I know one thing the minister did say to the council of ministers is that we have to get through this pandemic, especially during our high season, so we could keep our doors open, so we could keep the economy flowing. We don't have to experience what we experienced in 2020. You see the Netherlands already going through their lockdown. We see other countries closing down and so forth. We are right now still blessed not to be in that situation. But it's up to us to make sure that we don't get back or be put back in that situation. At the end of the day, he has put out his basically sort of a schedule on what steps will be taken if the beds get full, right? So we are in control of our own economy at the moment. So let's do our best to keep our economy open, be an example for other islands, and striving to be good. In addition to that, 2021 has been a trying and unprecedented year. I think we all can agree to that. Together, we have overcome a number of hurdles. We have adapted, and we had to become flexible in the ever-changing situation of this pandemic. Despite still dealing with a pandemic, the Ministry of Finance made some strides this year. We were able to execute the SRP program, which provided income for thousands of persons. We're still getting messages of thanks for the last year and a half of being able to execute this program and the benefits that they had for our community. Having had SRP put in place, we were able to bounce back a lot faster as soon as we opened up and persons were able to hit the ground running. The preparing of the annual budget is already a lengthy process, but was even more extensive this year given our financial limitations. But I'm proud that we were able to complete it within the budget year and was able to already present it to Parliament and start the deliberations. The Ministry of Finance was also budgeted for a Learn Smart program, an initiative that is in collaboration with the SMDF. This program will allow persons the opportunity to learn new skills or help them expand on their existing skills. As I've mentioned before, this program started in 2020, and because of the high demand in persons wanting to learn new skills, we've budgeted for the next year and the following year, 2022. And we already see about 500 persons already part of the program already. I've already seen some certificates on Facebook floating around of persons that already completed certain programs already. I believe we're headed in the right direction in regards to building up our skills. The pandemic, again, has changed the way people think and act and so forth. And we have a community that does a lot of side hustles and businesses and so forth, and also persons that want to take a step in their career and a new step. And this initiative has also helped them to build their skills to be able to take that new step. In addition to that, during this pandemic, we learned that we can do more things online. So within 2020, we were basically thrust into the metaverse, basically, where we had to do things online and we had to be quick on our feet. So that became a focus also for the Ministry of Finance, where we focus on the online payment system for government, the whole system where we are now being able to put almost all services online. I believe we are at 20% now. We're looking to be fully online by the end of the year next year. So we have learned through this pandemic not just to deal with the virus itself, but also realize that, hey, we have to improve in certain areas, especially when it comes to innovation. I've said a number of times during a few press briefings already that the Ministry of Finance has adopted an I in our name. We're adopting the I for innovation, so the Ministry of Finance and Innovation. And we have built the foundation for the last 2 years, which we now could execute and build upon for the next 2 years. We have a few programs that we are launching. A pilot program that was also discussed in Parliament already, where in January we'll be doing a pilot program with government vehicles in regards to a QR code being put on vehicles to see if and how we could phase out the license plates, which would then also save government hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's another initiative, innovative initiative that I don't believe has been done anywhere in the region. So we're going to build upon those. We're also looking at another system in place, another pilot project for January, starting in January, where individuals will have a test group of about 250 persons, where they'll be given an app and they'll be able to pay for government services just by scanning with their phone and a QR code. So again, this is a high innovation that hasn't been done before. I don't believe it's been done anywhere in the Dutch Caribbean islands. And again, the pilot project starts in January. We've also launched this year our first conference in collaboration with the central bank in regards to blockchain, cryptocurrencies, and so forth, and Web 3.0. Technology is never going to go backwards. Technology is only going to move forward, and we have to adapt. And normally and typically, governments are years and years and years behind of innovative technology. And I believe, and I would like for our government to at least be keeping up with the same pace. So I've had a lot of questions on this already, on what we see for blockchain and cryptocurrency and so forth. And within the Ministry of Finance, we are keeping an eye on cryptocurrency and the effects. And we're also working and keeping up to date with the central bank on this topic. But cryptocurrency is just a very, very small part of Web 3.0. What we are looking at in the Ministry of Finance is blockchain, right? And what blockchain means for government, what it means for transparency, what it means for technological advances within government. So yes, we're also looking to do a sort of a pilot project at the end of the year next year when it comes to blockchain. And we're keeping an eye out for cryptocurrency, what this means for government and tokenization. I'd also like to congratulate the NRPB and more so the ESP program, the Enterprise Support Project, with their 100 person that received a loan from this program. I believe that this program is a very good initiative, it's almost a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a program like this for small, medium enterprises. You don't see these programs a lot around the world, especially not with an amount of up to $150,000. I want to congratulate them again on their improvements and their work ethic and reaching the goal of 100 persons. And I look forward for them to doubling that amount in 2022. But for them to achieve this, we need persons, individuals, companies to also apply, go through the process, not feel intimidated by having to do a business plan. That should be a core part of your business, all right? Having to do a business plan, but apply for the loan. I believe if we get more persons online in 2022, this will also be a boost to our economy, but also a boost to your business and be able to lower your burden and debt. I'd like to remind the public that we have to navigate our new reality. We'll be able to we'll also continue to innovate and adapt quickly as possible within the ministry. We're trying our best to use data-driven policies. We're going to adopt more data-driven policies in 2022 for us to have a better future and build upon our foundation. Lastly, I would like to thank my cabinet staff for all their hard work and efforts this year. They put in long hours when needed, and I appreciate that. I would like to thank everyone in the Ministry of Finance that contributed to the preparing of the budget and the daily operations of the ministry. I would also like to thank all those in the other ministries that have collaborated with us, worked along us to achieve our goals. And I would like to thank, again, the ministry for their cooperation during this pandemic, the stressful times that we've had, the different budgets, the ESP, the SRP and so forth. And in closing, 2021 was another challenging year for everyone, mentally, physically, but we have made it through. I'd also like to say rest in peace to those that didn't make it through 2021, if it be the pandemic, natural disease, accidents. I'd like to say give strength to those families. We pray for you to be strong for your family in 2022. The entire world, and of course, we right here in St. Martin, we're trying to figure out how to maneuver during this pandemic. I believe we've built a good foundation, a situation that's completely new for everyone. I would like to say that we've accepted the challenge and started to think on how we could adapt for 2022 and beyond. And I would like to thank the media, CoM, who's here with us every Wednesday, but also for their advancement and communication during the pandemic. I think that has been critical for the public. So I would also like to thank CoM for their work for the last 2 years during this pandemic, and I look forward to continued good work with you. I look forward to the questions from the media.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Arian, for those opening remarks. I'd now like to re-invite the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment, and Infrastructure, the Honorable Durant, to address you.
Thank you very much, Charity, for your indulgence. I had some points noted down, and for some reason it slipped me. I'm sure the public can see that over the last couple of months, there's been a lot of car accidents, a lot of deaths taking place. I would like to urge the general public to please exercise caution and take all the other road users into consideration, because we've seen even 2 nights ago, we lost another young man. Last night, we saw that a plane that took off, it almost crashed. It came back, it landed. We see that God was in the midst. God is always in the midst, but thank God those souls were able to be spared. These are things that are happening, and I urge the general public, especially in these times when the year is ending, to exercise caution. It slipped me as well to mention and also thank the Minister of VSA and his entire team at CPS in all the different departments that contributed and in any way, whether it was bringing sandwiches or taking tests, whatever role you played in terms of assisting the general public, I would like to thank you, all the nurses and doctors at the medical center, at all other areas, that whether they're attributing the vaccine, taking tests, taking care of our patients. I would like to thank you, because I know definitely, as the Minister of Finance mentioned, it is emotionally draining, physically draining, and all these different things. Nevertheless, these persons wake up every day, come work, put on their best face, and serve the community. I would like to close with that and say stay safe and God bless the people of St. Martin. Thank you, Ms. Dunker, for the opportunity.
You're most welcome. Thank you as well, Minister Duran. I now invite the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, Severia Jacobs, to address you.
Thank you very much, Charity. Good morning. Good morning to my colleague ministers. Good morning to the members of the press, Ms. Donker, of course, and the staff of CoM, our listening and viewing public. Welcome once again, and thank you for joining us for this, our final Council of Ministers press briefing for 2021. Season's greetings also go out to one and all, and of course, the wish for a safe transition into 2022. As such, let me take this time to wish each and every one, hoping that you've passed a very blessed Christmas, hopefully simply, with family being at the center of your celebrations, understanding the reason for the season. While finalizing your plans for the end of year, I would like you to be reminded, especially after listening to all of the speakers before me, to keep them safe, to maintain the high protocols at all times, and do what we can, each and every one of us, to mitigate the spread of the virus. On Thursday last, December 23rd, the Council of Ministers met with the Windward Islands Chamber of Labor Unions, the WICLU, to discuss, among other things, the application of the cost-cutting measures and the effects it has on the employees, not just in the public and semi-public sectors, but also the impact on private entities and their workers. The Council, and together with the WICLU, agreed to do a joint press statement, which will be provided on the progress made, including plans to address various areas of concern in the coming year. The press release will follow as soon as we can coordinate that, so you can look out for that from both us and the WICLU. As Minister of General Affairs, I'm happy to inform that the project Fostering Resilient Crisis Management is being done in collaboration with the VNGI. The VNG International is an international association of the Netherlands municipalities. Since the passing of Hurricane Irma, the government of St. Martin has strengthened ties with the VNGI to enhance the disaster management system of St. Martin, with the first project going from 2018 to 2021. Our second project with the VNGI will support disaster management system in crisis management and response. The implementation period is of 18 months of these projects, with the following outputs expected: a net-centric crisis information management system and a functional back office. 2, a training and education strategy for staff in crisis management. 3, standard operating procedures for various types of crises. And lastly, a proposal for regional crisis coordination. I would like to extend a special thank you to the EU Resembit program, which is funding this project to the tune of €971,708. Vacancies for technical assistance for this project has been posted on government's website as well as on our Facebook page. All interested persons are encouraged to apply for these positions as soon as possible. Also, there are 13 EU overseas countries and territories, OCTs, located in the Atlantic, Antarctic, Arctic, and Indian Ocean, the Pacific, and the Caribbean, with St. Martin being a Caribbean OCT through our connection with the Netherlands. As OCT, we benefit from political, cooperative, and commercial partnerships with the EU. The new programming period of the European Union, the Multi-Annual Indicative Program, the MIP, has been finalized. This programming period runs from 2021 to 2027. The EU has adopted approximately 11 multi-annual indicative programs, MIPS, that encompass long-term frameworks for cooperation. The strategic priorities of the MIPS revolve around the European Green Deal, climate action, energy transition, and biodiversity, digitalization, sustainable job creation, and human development. All these points are key priorities for the government of St. Martin. And so any collaboration that we can get during this period of development, resiliency building, we very, very gratefully accept. I'd also like to give a little update on progress of the projects being executed under the 2021, in 2021 by the NRPB as the execution agency for government's priority projects aimed at providing resilience and progress for the benefit of St. Martin's people. Several have been executed, such as, and were mentioned, I think, briefly by Minister of Finance, at least one of them, the ERP projects, whereby 101 vulnerable families have been handed the keys to their homes, repaired homes. The students and staff of 3 schools were able to return to upgraded and repaired facilities. 11, and I think this is a great achievement for St. Martin, 11 hurricane shelters have been completed and stand ready to provide safe refuge. The fire department is now better equipped to respond to emergencies with 3 new trucks. The EDMP, Emergency Debris Management Program, has heavy equipment. We've built bridges in a community adjacent to the landfill. The Simpson Lay Lagoon and the pond are much cleaner. And as I mentioned before, being part of the European Green Deal, we are well on our way to implementing and adopting strategic priorities in this project as well. The Enterprise Support Program, as was mentioned, 100 small businesses are now growing. I think in the beginning of this year, when we talked about people pursuing their dreams, being positive, many lost track and didn't see how. But via these projects, we are able to do that, and I continue to encourage the people of St. Martin to make use of these opportunities as they are still there for us. As you can see, our airport terminal has started, and was tendered in 2021, and the digitalization of government's project, fostering resilient learning project, and the mental health project are all in the preparatory stages and are expected to roll out in some manner or form in 2022. We also look forward to 16 remaining schools, as well as the home repairs at the St. Martin Housing in the tune of 64 homes. Continued repairs to our fire and ambulance building, and also plans for the long-term solid waste management will start to take shape. One last part that we can look forward to in 2022 is works to get the remaining parts of the electrical grid of NVGEBE underground. All of these projects are being managed by the NRPB as our executing agency, and I would like to take this time to thank them as well for the continuous collaboration with government in terms of our priorities under the theme, Together, Building Back a More Resilient St. Martin. At this time, I'm coming down to the end. Sorry for the lengthy discussion, but I think as we end 2021, it is good for people to understand what has been achieved and where we're going in 2022. And as such, I add my support and encouragement to the Minister and Ministry of VSA, Minister Otley, the healthcare providers on our island who have been on the front line from the beginning, almost 2 years now, dealing with this pandemic, which is now, as the Minister mentioned, moving into the endemic stage. We are grateful, we are happy that we're able to bounce back, be resilient, and get back on our feet. I echo the words of the Minister in terms of not resorting to panic, but resorting to what we know can work. We know what we have done since 2020 to keep this virus under control, and we know what we have to do as a people. So continue to be vigilant. Those who have not yet done so, please make use of the opportunity to get your COVID-19 vaccines or your booster shots, because we are seeing with unequivocal data that persons with the vaccine are passing through even this last one with much more ease than who have not been vaccinated. So this is encouragement for us to be vaccinated, to be boosted, and to continue to be safe. Those who have not vaccinated, test regularly, and in this way, we're better able to assess the reality of our situation here on St. Martin. I'm thankful that with Omicron, we're seeing less hospitalization, and I continue to pray with gratitude that this remains this way so that we can continue to live, work, and build our livelihoods on St. Martin. It is up to you. It is up to me, not just government, but each and every single human being living on this island to protect yourselves and your families as we go through yet another surge. I believe that with gratitude for everything that we have, that we will go into 2022 stronger, better prepared, and continuing to grow. And that will be the theme of my New Year's address. So then you'll be able to hear that. To my colleague ministers, to the Council of Ministers, thank you for your total support in 2021. And we look forward to strategically cooperating and collaborating to ensure that we can execute what we came here to do. Build a stronger St. Martin, create more opportunities for our people so that each and every person on this island can conceive of a dream, the steps needed to be taken to achieve it, and we as government provide the opportunities so that they are able to do that. Hard work never killed anyone, and I must say that has been the ethic that I grew up with, and I look forward to continuing to do so in 2022. Thank you also to the Ministry of General Affairs, the Cabinet of the Minister, as well as the Cabinet of the Minister Plenipotentiary in The Hague. Thank you to CoM specifically, of course, for allowing us to enhance our communication to the public, and we look forward to continuing to do so in the future. Thank you. I await any questions from the media.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister, for your opening remarks. If you have just joined us, you're watching the Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, December 29, 2021. Thank you for joining. Before moving on to the question and answer session, I'd like to let the members of the media know that the Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport, Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, had to leave the press briefing and so has requested any questions from the media to be forwarded to his cabinet. Onwards to member of the media, Bibi Haj Shah of S&M News. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning. And thank you good morning to my colleagues and the ministers present. My questions are for the Minister of VSA, Minister Otley. Minister, has the RIVM expressed any concern towards St. Martin's approach with the Omicron virus variant? And Minister, you as the Minister of Health and Labor, are you at all concerned with the rapid spread, especially knowing the percentage of unvaccinated people on St. Martin?
Thank you for your question, Ms. Harshaw. Indeed, the RIVM has rendered their advice to St. Martin. To me, we have been proactive. Before they recommended, we have already put restriction towards EU countries. We have put a ban to South Africa when the virus first started, even before reaching the predominant countries throughout the world. We measured on a case-to-case basis based on the countries being a high risk. So right now, there are countries, even though the protocol is going in place January 1st, there are some countries, whether you're vaccinated or not, you need to test. Some of the measures that the RIVM want us to implement, I think it's a bit far-fetched at this point. Yes, we all can agree, better safe than sorry, but you made a point, Minister of Health and Minister of Labor, and unfortunately during the pandemic, one thing that we have learned, they contradict each other. In order for us to keep everything safe, it's easy for us to lock down, shut the outside world out, and that hampers our economy, that hampers the growth. And like I stated, if we go through Phillipsburg, we see the taxis, we see the tour buses, we see the vendors. Everyone is starting to succeed. And I have noticed an increase in employment in St. Martin due to the busy season. So with that, I take all of that into consideration before making a decision. So what we have done is said, okay, as of January 1st, we upped our protocols for the entire world. There will be no more high risk. Everyone will have the same approach to enter St. Martin. When it comes to scaling back to St. Martin, I do it based on our hospital capacity. I believe in numbers. You know, they say men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And one thing I can say is if we look at Aruba, they have 1,500 cases plus. There's 11 persons in the hospital. That's a rate of about 0.7%. We look at Curacao, 1,800 plus cases, 12 persons in the hospital. I mean, it's a lot, and I don't wish hospitalizations on no one, but the reality is that's another rate of 0.6%, not even 1%. And in St. Martin, we have 236 active cases reported, okay? And at the moment, we have 2 persons in the hospital, both persons unvaccinated. That is 0.8%, not even a 1%. So therefore, I am monitoring closely, because for me to say, for instance, use the active cases as a threshold would be unfair to the country, would be unfair to the people. Because if I have 500 cases but 0 hospitalizations and 0 deaths, then what do I have? And that's the reality of it. This Omicron is becoming, and hopefully will be, the dominant variant throughout the world. Now, as opposed to Delta, just to give a comparison, there was a 10% hospitalization rate that we were seeing. So at this point, with Delta in the stage, we would have had a hospitalization of about 18 or 20 people already. And we have noticed the difference. We have to accept the difference. So that's the reason I am acting accordingly. I am very much doing research. Right now, the CDC has also reduced their quarantine and isolation time to 5 days for persons who are asymptomatic, as opposed to 2 weeks. This is because they realize the virus now is transmitted 1 to 2 days before exhibiting symptoms and 2 to 3 days after. So hence the period when someone is positive and asymptomatic, they reduce it to 5 days. This is something that we are now looking into as well, as we know there's a lot of issues, and maybe the 2-week period is a bit too strenuous for somebody that is vaccinated and asymptomatic. So those are the steps we are taking. And we are moving at the case-to-case basis, and I think that we are doing very well. One last point. Again, we can expect an increase. Today's numbers is not out as yet, but we can expect an increase. But again, I ask everyone to do their part, because we can't just rely on me or the government to shut down for COVID to be manageable. No, there's businesses that has to do their part. There's nightlife that has to do their part. There's everyone that has to play their role, and it can't always be that it's expected for us to shut down the whole economy for persons not playing their part. So that's my perspective on it and how I plan on tackling the Omicron.
Thank you, Minister Otley, and thank you, Bibi, for your question. Onwards to Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and the ministers that are present here today. This question is going to be between the Prime Minister and the Minister of Roaming. St. Martin has a unique tourism product, ministers. Now, you said soon from nowadays, weeks, the Front Street will be rebuilding the roads. Minister, but there's some obstacle of presentation. St. Martin have the Soul Market in the midst of Phillipsburg, but the presentation that the vendors, the way they present themselves to the visitors, it is not comely. Ministers, will there be anything put in place, seeing that the market is the face of tourism? And what is a little embarrassing and not acceptable, they are urinating around the areas. And will there be any, seeing that you're going to fix the road, there will be holistically, we're going to get a toilet or something there at the market, because I cannot say much more, but it is not acceptable.
Thank you very much for your question, Mr. Brown. Regarding the restrooms at the marketplace, they do exist, they're open. We have contractors that clean them every day. So that is there already. There's the one adjacent to the courthouse at the marketplace, and also there's one on the boardwalk. So that is already in place. And the beginning part of your question wasn't clear to me as to what the question really is.
The people do not know how to present their sale to the
Okay, I would then have your question forwarded to the Minister of Tenant, who is not present, and then have the cabinet answer that in writing.
Thank you, Minister Durana, and also thank you, Lyndon, for your question. Ms. Bibi Haj Shah of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you again. Prime Minister, can you give us an update towards the shareholders meeting that was held at the Princess Juliana International Airport, and the fact that there were intentions to dismiss the now suspended COO, and the situation that took place in Parliament regarding the situation of Mr. Hyman? Can you give us an update since that meeting on the 23rd of December?
Thank you for the question. The Minister of Tenant is the first person of contact as it relates to the airport at this time, but we've been updated as a CoM in terms of the way moving forward. I would like us to remember at all times that persons are innocent until proven guilty, and I do not enjoy nor support discussing cases such as these publicly. Until we have further information, I prefer that situation remain as per whatever press statements go out directly from the person themselves or from the airport as such. As shareholder, we've had meetings with the holding company to ensure that fairness and equity is at all times upheld.
Thank you, Prime Minister, and thank you, Bibi Haj Shah, for your question. Lyndon Brown, you have the floor of BCN TV.
Let me use the terminology of the Minister of Health. Question to Minister of Finance. Recently, the minister said we are on the race to normalcy. And Minister of Finance, now several government offices, 7, has gone digital. And now there are elderly people especially who are concerned. I said, well, I am accustomed to digital, or everything I had to be doing online, Minister. Is there anything put in place to at least teach people the way forward, seeing that eventually everything will go digital?
Thank you for your question. Again, Mr. Brown, I think every time I mention the word digital, you ask the exact same question over again. But I'll say it again, just to close off the year with this. St. Martin isn't the only country going digital. We are in some cases even far behind some other countries. In regards to being more online, our regular services are not stopping. So the regular way of doing business still exists. So that has not stopped. But we are encouraging to go more digital, especially during the pandemic, where persons are sometimes even scared to leave their house as cases increase and so forth. So I believe as a government, it's actually even just more responsible for us to find ways to make sure that everyone can continue to do business as normal online as much as possible. In regards to trainings and so forth, we've had put out videos and images and so forth, so we will continue to do that. But we are also looking to do some other smaller projects for seniors and so forth in the future where necessary.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Finance, and also thank you, Bibi, for your question. Members of the media, I'd like to thank you very much. Prime Minister, you have another remark to make?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Charity. I did neglect to mention one or two things. First of all, condolences to all persons who are currently suffering the loss of loved ones, especially at this very, a time where joy is the pervasive feeling. It's always very, very difficult, but at this time of year, it's always even more difficult. Today, the French Quarter community will be laying Ms. Georgina to rest, a stalwart within the community, and as such, a special condolences to her family and the community of French Quarter, St. Martin, the Scouting family in general. We also remember the loss of our several key civil servants this year during 2021. They're gone but not forgotten, and they're asked to be, their families are especially asked to be remembered in prayer, especially also those families who have, for some reason or another during 2021, experienced loss. Our prayers as a government remain with you. Mental health has taken a blow, but it has also become more apparent. There is more awareness of it. And so I encourage people of St. Martin, whatever you're going through, you are not alone. Continue to seek help, whether within your family or professionally. There is no weakness in admitting that you need some help. At some point in our lives, we all do, but if we try to daily wake up with a sense of gratitude for breath, for life, for existence, and live through gratitude, we will see that we grow day by day in strength to deal with whatever challenges that are facing us. I also did not acknowledge that there are people still suffering. There are still people suffering as a result of the economic downturn in St. Martin. There are people suffering in silence because of St. Martin pride. We don't come out and say. But I would like to also encourage you to register at the Ministry of VSR so we know the real numbers, so that we can budget properly to be able to give the necessary assistance, so we can provide the necessary training, so that you can also get that opportunity to build yourself during this downtime. Every crisis is an opportunity for us to grow, and I'd like to encourage the people of St. Martin to never give up. Together we can. I'd also like to give a special thanks to the St. Martin Development Fund that has played a key role in assisting the government of St. Martin in funding a lot of the progress, assistance, the SSRP from the Ministry of Finance, also the Coursera courses. They have done a tremendous job under very young leadership, and I commend them as an outstanding organization, as well as other key NGOs and CSOs who have made a great leap in what they do for the community, and I encourage the people of St. Martin. Those of you that have the finances, donate that. And those of you who have the time, give of yourself, give of your labor to these organizations so that we can together build a stronger St. Martin. Thank you, Charity.
You're most welcome, and thank you once again, Honorable Prime Minister Silveria Jacobs. Members of the media, this brings us to the end of the Council of Ministers press briefing. Once again, for any further questions, you're kindly requested to forward those questions to the ministers' respective cabinets. Honorable ministers and also online viewers, radio listeners, thank you very much for tuning in. This is the Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, December 29, 2021. For rebroadcast, be sure to tune in to St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, also Tel TV Plus. For video on demand, the official government Facebook page, Government of St. Martin, YouTube channel, Government of St. Martin as well. For also video coverage, you can also follow St. Martin Cable TV, channel 115. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, we all bid you a pleasant day further.